How would you like to be able to heal your illnesses? In today's episode, Mark Fox will tell us how you can heal your illnesses with PEMF. He's the inventor of Vibe, the world's only pocket pulsed electromagnetic field device, also called PEMF. And Resona Health, under his leadership, offers resonance frequency therapy designed to address more than 35 common ailments in both people and pets, including pain, PTSD, anxiety, sleep disorders, back pain, and ADHD, without the need for drugs or doctor visits. So, Mark, tell us, how can entrepreneurs heal their illnesses with PEMF? Heal Podcast with Lily Patrascu shares longevity and anti-aging techniques to stay young forever, increase energy, overcome addiction, and live your longest, best life ever. Shared by world's most innovative, alternative, and traditional health thought leaders, healers, and doctors. Discover quantum healing strategies to heal your mind, body, and soul.
Yeah, and just for clarification, what we want to be able to say is, obviously, we can't treat, diagnose, or cure anything. So we're just helping support people with those conditions, and then using the FDA's correct terminology is helping people live well with those conditions. So you're not actually treating, diagnosing, or curing them. So it's a therapy device that helps with, and there's actually now the device has 59 different protocols on there, plus 5 of them are brainwave expansion protocols, what we're calling them, and they can be repurposed for 70 other things. So there's literally like 130 plus different protocols on the device now. This is what it looks like. It looks like an old iPod, Apple iPod on purpose, because I designed it that way for familiarity. But you simply just find the protocol you want, scroll to it, hit click, and you put it in your pocket, or you wear it with a lanyard around your neck, put it in your back pocket. Some women put it in their bra. I stopped telling them a couple years ago to stop doing that, but so many people do it. So many women still do that. It's like, okay, that's a convenient place to put it anywhere in your body. It doesn't have to touch the skin, as long as it's the closer the better, but you can just put it on the outside of your clothes.
Thank you. So tell us more about the research behind why does the PEMF device work to support health and to support the relief of certain conditions.
Yeah, and so magnetic therapy has been around for 3,000 to 4,000 years. Literally, I mean, it's been documented in BC. Static magnets. And so it was discovered probably maybe 100 years ago that a pulse electromagnetic field is much more therapeutic. The Earth actually puts it out at a PEMF at 7.83 hertz. It's the Earth's heartbeat, and you're surrounded in it right now. And it's 24/7. It's probably been there for billions of years. So it's not anything really woo-woo, is that the energy of the Earth already does it, but not at specific frequency pairs. And the way to look at it, unfortunately, not to deep dive into that, but in 1934, Rockefeller and Carnegie got together and figured out, hey, you can make drugs out of oil. So if it's not surgery or pharmaceutical drugs, we're going to pull your license and funding. So in America, all of the electrical stimulation research kind of got scrapped. So a lot of it is unknown where the frequencies and stuff come from. What we know is it recharges your cell's battery. So the cells in your body have a voltage on, just like a car battery. And when it gets low, you get sick. So it recharges cells' batteries. It also increases ATP production, which is the main fuel that your cells use for food. So it does those two things: recharges cells' batteries, produces more food, so your body can do what it does best. Now, the protocols are all different. They're frequency pairs that change every 1 to 4 minutes, depending on which protocol it is. And if you think of the frequency pair as a chord on a guitar, the protocols are songs. So there's songs that you're not listening to with your ear, but your body's listening to it with the energy. And it just came from trial and error, frankly, from 8,000 practitioners over 35 years. Picture a bunch of artists sitting around writing songs. That's what they're doing. They add a note here, change the lyric here, make it a little bit better. And that's the research that's a big chunk of the research. Unfortunately, most doctors don't publish papers, they treat patients. But if they go to PubMed and you just put in PEMF in general, you'll find probably 6,000 published articles on it. NASA's been using it since the 1970s, because you can't actually do long duration space flight without it, because your bone density reduces too much. So there's a lot of research done by different products and people, and they're all, you kind of look at it this way, in this field, we all have guitars. They're a little bit different devices, but they play energy or frequency usually in the same range of super low energy, which is like 1 to 1,000 hertz. This is a million hertz, okay, to put it in perspective, your cell phone. So it's a super, super, super low energy that is similar almost in many respects to, like I said, the Earth's heartbeat.
Thank you. Tell us, what's the difference between your device and other bioresonance devices?
You know, you get asked that all the time, and the answer is I don't know, because they didn't tell me what their engineering is. They didn't tear one apart. I don't know how it's programmed. But energy therapy, if you look at it, the higher level is energy can be transferred at a highest level. Nothing happens in the world without an energy exchange. So you don't fall down and break your arm. You don't cook food. You don't breathe oxygen. You don't drive your car. Everything's an energy exchange. So energy coming into your body to help you, quote, heal or feel better can be delivered with electrical current. So most people be familiar with the TENS unit, right? That's actually contracting your muscles. That's electrical current. It could be a magnetic field like the Vibe. It could be light. It could be sound. It can be vibration. So I know that's not what you asked me, but I'm trying to answer it accurately. There's those 5 ways to deliver energy, and there's a whole bunch of things out there that deliver in one or more of those ways, like an infrared mat. A beamer mat is going to put out magnetic fields like ours, but not to get into a rabbit hole. We use ramp square waves, and beamer uses sine waves. So it gets pretty technical when you go, and we have proprietary protocols that nobody else is using because they're all trademarked. So it's a hard to answer when somebody goes, how's it compare to this thing? And it's like, I don't know, because I don't know. Or the one you mentioned before the call about another device, never heard, I don't even know what the name of it is, so I don't know what the engineering differences are. The closest thing I can say that this is it's a music player. It actually is an MP3 player, and all of the protocols are actually MP3 songs. There's just not a speaker in it. There's a coil. So the coil creates a magnetic field, but if you put a speaker in there, you would hear it. You'd hear the wah, you'd hear the sound. So ours is MP3 driven based on, like I said, 35 years, 8,000 practitioners, fine tuning these protocols. They're all unique proprietary protocols. So one difference is nobody has these protocols on another device that I know of. They shouldn't, because it's copyrighted.
Thank you. Tell us some potential ailments that could be helped by your PEMF device.
Yeah, by far, so our own clinical trials that we've done, I believe we've done the largest PTSD study with PEMF probably in the world, and we have a 98% success rate with PTSD and trauma. I kind of did call it trauma too, because you don't want to rabbit hole it into just the military and first responders, but because there's tons and tons of civilians with trauma. So PTSD and trauma is going to be one of the top ones. The second one's going to be anxiety. Anxiety is the number one ailment for human beings in every culture across the planet. So it's the most common thing that there is. So it really helps with anxiety. Sleep, back pain, neck pain. You can lower blood sugar with it. Vagus nerve toning. Some of the things we're doing right now, we're just, as of this morning, wrapping up a study on Lyme disease. And honestly, as 2 years ago, I had probably a couple hundred people contact me and say, what do you have for Lyme disease? I'm like, nothing. I don't have that research. So I got enough phone calls, and there's enough people that, Lily, that are miserable. If you get on a Facebook group with these people that have Lyme disease, they wish they would have cancer, because there's no solution for it. It's awful. It's long-term chronic mental pain, no sleeping, they can't eat. So we started studies on that. We're getting really good results on it. So it's things like that where there's some uniqueness. And the vagus nerve, there's a lot of research showing it's a nerve that goes from your brain down both sides of your neck. It kind of clusters around your heart, and it goes to all your organs, and it talks to the brain, and the brain talks to the organs through this communication highway. If you get that tuned correctly, it solves a lot of problems in human health. So we're spending a lot of time on vagus nerve testing, measuring how people feel. We're actually measuring heart rate variability. We get wires hooked up to them. So we're doing all those things. I think vagus nerve is going to be huge. I've been talking about the Vibe, but this is a single pendant. It's a necklace that you just turn on and just wear it like a necklace that tones the vagus nerve. We're doing we're finishing up clinical trials on that with some super good results. So obviously I can't cover all 59 plus the other 70, but those are some of the more common ones that we see people using it for. For dogs and horses, it's going to be relax and balance, anxiety, allergies, arthritis, general inflammation, toxicity, those type of things.
Thank you. Does it cover things like weight loss, and then, being constipated and, like these bacteria, and I'm not sure if it's called even bacteria, like salmonella and these types of like, I don't even know what they're called. Maybe you know better than me. Does it cover those types of things as well?
There's a weight loss program in there, and I'm just, before people jump on and get super excited, I'll be honest, it's only going to work if your weight gain is due to insulin resistance, which is about a third of the overweight population. That is true. So it won't work if it's something else besides insulin resistance. What was the second one you asked me? I'm sorry, after that.
Constipation.
Constipation. Yes. Be careful because it works. So first time you use it, that and pain, we tell people, so yes, it works for constipation. If you're in long-term chronic pain, make sure you're not operating a car or machinery the first time you use it, because it may actually get you drunk or stoned. And what I mean by that is when your pain disappears fast, your body releases a bunch of endorphins. So you got like the runner's high. Actually, I mean, I had a woman over here that ran it the first time. It was in a car wreck. Her back was in a lot of pain. She started backpedaling and sat down in the chair and goes, wow, I'm seeing like double vision. That's not real common, but if you're in severe pain, you want to be careful the first couple times you use it like that, because it may be that rapid.
Thank you. So are you saying that people that have, let's say, chronic pain, let's say, I don't know, chronic neck pain from having an accident, or chronic back pain from having like a trapped nerve, that, let's say, people that have this kind of pain that has been chronic for like years, like 20 years, can they get relief with this PEMF device?
Yes, and like anything else, it's not 100%, but the success rate is actually very high. To your point, that is how most people find this technology, is they've been in long-term chronic pain, either physically, mentally, or usually both. And everything else they tried didn't work, or the side effects of the drugs are too severe, or just didn't work for them. So that's usually how people will find this, because they're searching, right? They're looking for another answer because what they've tried so far hasn't worked. So the answer is yes, it can. It's not 100%, but it's a very high success rate.
Thank you. What about for coronavirus or flu or sore throat or migraine, that kind of thing? Does it offer any solution for those ailments?
I got to be careful what I say there. So yes, we have a flu protocol. If you talk about COVID and any solution to it, the black SUVs show up your front door and you disappear. Okay. So be very cautious about that. The flu protocol, you can make a connection that COVID is a flu type bug-ish. So yes, the flu protocol has helped a lot of people with long-term COVID, but that's all I want to say with that, because yes, there's sensitive areas where the government don't want you saying any that can help at all. So
yeah, of course. Yeah, because you can't make any claims about it healing. It just can support with the body healing itself. That's what my understanding of this particular tool is that you're not actually healing the actual illness. What you're doing is you're killing the pathogen. Isn't that what happens? You're killing the pathogens, and that's why a lot of times the body heals itself. Is that how it goes?
It's maybe, and pathogens, again, we'll come back to in a minute. Most pathogens, so like flu and a few other protocols we have, but most of pathogens, the frequencies are not high enough to kill them. You'd have to go to like a Rife machine. So I probably recommend, I don't have any connection with Rife. They don't pay me anything, but I probably send 10 customers a day over to their website, because that's a much higher frequency that can kill cancer cells and pathogens and that type of stuff. We have flu, we have shingles, we have cold sores. They're some of the longest protocols on the Vibe because of that reason. They're like 2.5 hours long, because they're a tough cookie to crack, right? So Lyme disease, as I mentioned earlier, it is a clever, mean, nasty little thing, okay? It hides itself. It disguises itself as something else. When you kill it, it spits poison. So that's been the actual biggest challenge we've had is it worked step one because it killed it, but then it made people sick. In fact, 100% of them got sick on the first round. So we're like, okay, back off on the power a little bit. Let's run some toxicity protocols, try and clean the body out of your system. So you got to be really careful, again, about supporting conditions and therapy versus treatment words. I mean, there's all that gray area that you can get in trouble pretty fast. So we just say, try it. You can go look at the 100 testimonials that we have on the website of other customers. None of them are paid, right? They're all people that, and there's a lot of different ailments and stuff scattered in there. And here's what I tell everyone, and I always tell by the tone, by their email, right, is it's not going to work for everybody. Just go in there, right? Keep an open mind that it could help you, right? That's probably the biggest challenge. You got a 30-day money back guarantee after you get it. And if there's circumstances we need to extend it, we always do. If it doesn't work for you, send it back. I don't want your money. We don't want your money at all if it didn't work for you. Now, when people go, hey, you don't have 100 million double-blind studies. Okay. If we had 100 million double-blind studies, they're never 100%. So that even if it was a 98% success rate, it doesn't mean it's going to work for you, Lily, right? So you got to go try it and see if it does. So again, and I can tell people, I'm being transparent, honest. One of the protocols on there that I wish was a lot higher is prostate. And it's only about 65% successful because I got old men yelling at me every day.
Thank you. Is that specifically for like enlarged prostate ailments or something different related to prostate that could potentially help?
Enlarged prostate. I got to go to the bathroom too many times during the night. I can't keep a urine stream long going, all the conditions that are with enlarged prostate. Yes.
Okay, that's so interesting. I actually met someone who was talking exactly about that. I think it was a couple of days ago, which was quite interesting. What is the typical time frame that it takes for your device to have any success? And the reason I ask you this is because I use like a bioresonance device, and I know it's not your device, but I used something. I'm not sure if it's really similar, and I noticed that it took, I would say about 9 months for me to like 99% recover, and I'm wondering for your types of ailments, I'm sure that there are probably varying results based on every person and based on the actual ailment. But you can tell us like what it tends to be like I don't know if typical, you can say that, the typical results, because you can't put everyone in one basket, but.
The good news with that, no, it would never take 9 months. So 30 days. So what we tell everyone is use it 3 to 4 times a week for 30 days. If it doesn't help you after that, it's not going to. Mm-hmm. Or you're running the wrong protocol and you doctor or yourself misdiagnosed yourself as that isn't what's wrong. It's something else. But yeah, 3 to 4 times a week, 30 days. If you don't see a result by then, and that's why we have the 30-day money back guarantee, is like, if you don't see a result by then, it's not going to work, or like I said, is you lied to me and you didn't use it. That's actually problem number one. Mm-hmm. Did you use it 3 to 4 times a week? No, I used it once. Okay. Well, now some people with asthma, for example, pain, sometimes people will see a result in the very first session. I've got a lot of people with asthma. It's like, there's no way, just change my breathing like that. So, but that's kind of the average, 3 to 4 times a week. Now we have a lot of customers, right, that they finally get relief from whatever it is. They don't want to be an experiment anymore. They just want to run it 3 times a day just because they don't want to ever go back to where they were. And I'm like, that's probably too much. You can't overdose, but you don't need to use it that much. But customers aren't going to listen to me at that point. If they found a solution to something that's been pain for 20 years, and now I have one guy that's a friend of mine. He's an ex-race car driver. He's had 4 concussions. He's been on fire twice. He was taking 8 Ambien a night for 15 years. He's not on any Ambien. He's not in any pain. He's sleeping now. He's not going to go back and test, hey, if I cut this back to twice a week, am I okay? And that's pretty ticklish. Like, now I'm going to run it every day because it's so easy. I just stick it in my pocket and forget it's there. I forget I'm using it all the time. When I go to grab my cell phone, I have my pocket and I pull it out and it's this. And I go, oh yeah, that's right. I would run a session. I just forgot about it. So.
Thank you. How safe is it comparable to, other things you might use? Like, how safe is it for like your brain and, considering it emits some frequencies?
Yeah, I mean, it's being considered by the whole PEMF community. If you're in this frequency level, 1 to 1,000 hertz, and you're at low Gauss levels, those combinations. So Gauss levels is the energy level of the magnetic field. The analogy I always use is a surfer. So a surfer is how many times does a wave come by? That's frequency. Energy level is how tall is a wave. So if I get a 3-foot wave and it comes every hour, it's not a lot of energy. If I have a 100-foot wave and there's 1,000 of them a second, that's a lot of energy. So starting at the other end of the spectrum, when you go to the dentist and they put a lead apron on you to do an x-ray, that's 10 to the 12th to the 13th zeros. 13 zeros hertz. That's how high that frequency is. That's a million, okay? 2.5, 2.4 million. Wi-Fi and all this stuff around your house, it's all in either hundreds of thousands or millions. Your TV is 100,000. This is 1 to 1,000. So this is 100 times less frequency than your television's putting out. And this is 9 Gauss maximum. Normally it's going to be about 4 to 5 Gauss. The Earth, as I said, that you're engulfed in is about a half of that's the energy level that you're caught. So, and then there's all kinds of rabbit hole stuff we can go down, which shows frequency versus energy and the safe line from the government. This device and most PEMF devices are below that line of being safe.
Thank you. So have you had any patients that, let's say, have had chronic pain and they have like fully healed like their pain, for example, or is it that they have just reduced it for the most part?
It's most of them are. I can't say they completely got rid of it yet because we don't even know long term, right? This product's only been out 2.5 years, and it's a very good question because honestly, you don't get follow up from somebody 1.5 years later if it's working for them. You know, they just bought it and it worked and they're happy in the first 30 days. So we don't have that long term. We do from some people, but not a lot.
Yeah. Okay.
A lot of people are going to say it reduces the pain too. And then the weird part of how I'm going to answer, because there's a whole bunch of psychology that we can go into as well, but we get more often when people send it back. We have a very low return rate, but they'll send it back and go, oh, I'm not sure it was helping me. And then they realize it was helping them after they sent it back because they're not using it anymore. So there's a whole psychology of people forget how much pain they were in a month earlier, right? And I've talked to a bunch of psychiatrists and doctors about it, and they're like, Mark, that's true with every single intervention in the world. Doesn't matter what it is. You know, it's like, I have a friend I've known since kindergarten that's a chiropractor here in town, right? And he goes, that's why I videotape every new patient, because they come in on a walker, the next time they come in on a cane, the next time they come in with a lap dog, and they go, well, I could always do this. You couldn't even move your arm 2 months ago, right? So people forget how bad they felt. And so it's kind of a weird psychology thing too, when you're trying to answer that question is, and like I said, we've had several people return it, buy it again because they realized, oh, it was really helping. I just didn't remember how bad it was 60 days ago. So
thank you. Is there an improved result based on people's open-mindedness in terms of like, do you find that positive people who are like more willing to kind of try and actually believe in its effectiveness versus people who will be like, oh, I don't really think this will work for me. And then they actually kind of come with this opinion from the very beginning. And then it turns out it doesn't really help them. Do you think there's like a correlation between those two things?
There has to be. Yes, that's a super good question. And yeah, keep an open mind. And I tell people a couple different angles I could go there, but it's like, I can almost tell from the questions they ask before they buy it, is like, don't buy it. I've told customers that. I can tell by the string of questions you just asked me, you're already mind made up. It can't possibly have any benefit. So it's not going to for you, most likely. Don't waste my time and your time. And I just don't even buy the thing. So some of my team will go, why did you tell somebody not to buy it? Because I know I can tell by the attitude, the path they're going down. There's a thing, a comedian called Rich Hall in the 1970s had a thing called sniglets. They were words that are not in the dictionary but should be. And one of them is boson. It's bozo and ozone combined. It's invisible gas that stops any new ideas from getting in. So I've had so many, Lily, I have so many Facebook haters. It's unbelievable. Like, I wrote an article called Liar, Liar, Pants on Fire, because they're all like, you're Hitler, you're a scumbag, you're a thief, you're stealing money from old ladies. I'm like, how is this a scam project when I have my money back guaranteed? But anyway, it's like, here's the top 100 scams of all time. And I list them: DNA sequencing, CRISPR, antibiotics, lasers, MRIs. I list 100 things that are absolutely, positively impossible until they weren't. If you knew how an MRI worked, your jaw would drop. It's 5 different layers of magic, pure magic that are all impossible that happen at the same time. And that's how a lot of these things are, right? But if you're on the Mayflower and you showed them that, how would you explain it, right? So it's like, no, magnetic therapy has been around, like I said, 3,000 or 4,000 years. PEMF has been the last 100. It's getting more and more traction. If you go man on the street with a microphone, you ask somebody, do you know what PEMF is? It's going to be like 1 out of 10 or 1 out of 20 because they know what a mat is, like a beamer mat. If you ask a horse owner, all of them know what it is. They all know what MagnaWave is because they've seen their veterinarian come out and treat the horse. So they're actually a much easier sell in some cases because they already know what the technology is and they've been using it on the horse. They just haven't been able to afford it because they got to pay $250, $300 for a veterinarian to come do the session versus doing it themselves with something like the Vibe.
Thank you. Tell us where entrepreneurs can find more information about you and your PEMF products.
Yeah, the main website is Resona. It's short for Resonance, RESONA.health, like healthy. There's no .com, so it's RESONA.health, HEALTH.
Thank you. Follow me for more interviews with world's most innovative health changemakers to live your healthiest life ever.